All right, let's dive into Ritter Farm Park in Lakeville, Minnesota.
Sounds good.
We've got YouTube videos, the park's website, even some Yelp reviews.
Really digging deep this time.
Exactly. So what's the goal here? What are we hoping to uncover about this park?
We're going beyond just the basic facts. It's about finding those hidden gems, the stories that make this park more than just a pretty place.
I like that. More than just a pretty place. So let's jump in with this day hike Ritter Farm Park MN YouTube video.
Yeah, let's see what we can find.
This hiker's starting in the parking lot and whoa, he runs into a police officer right away.
Oh, that's not something you see every day. Makes you wonder what's going on, right?
For sure, maybe some park drama. Or just making sure everyone's safe. Who knows? But then he's off on the trail, beautiful snowy scenes, tons of oak trees.
Classic Minnesota.
Right, and then boom, he encounters some snowmobilers.
Ah, so it's not just for hikers. Different seasons, different activities.
Exactly. And he mentions wanting to come back in the summer.
Sounds like there's something for everyone, all year round.
I'm already thinking that backpacking trip he mentioned to Hercules Glade Wilderness Area in Missouri.
Another deep dive, perhaps?
Definitely potential. But for now, back to Ritter Farm Park. Let's rewind with the history moment video, see where it all began.
Back to the roots.
Exactly. Late 1800s, the land belonged to this guy, Caleb Tingley.
All right, Tingley, the first chapter in the story.
Then it's like a game of musical chairs with the land, the Gordon family, then the Christensen family.
Each leaving their mark on the park's history.
Oh, and get this. Wanda Christensen, one of the owner's daughters, thought the Environmental Learning Center was haunted.
No way. That's awesome. Adds a little mystery to the mix.
I know, right? But then the Ritter family comes in. 1950, $18,000. Renamed it Guernsey Gardens, focused on sheep farming.
From Tingley to Guernsey Gardens. The land's seen some changes.
But the source mentions they hit some rough financial patches. Like in 51, over $3,000 lost. Tough times.
Wow, that's a big hit. Must have been a lot of pressure to keep the farm going.
Yeah, you wonder what was going through their minds back then. But fast forward to 72, the city buys the land, $400,000.
Big jump in price. Guess things were looking up for the area.
And here's the thing, the Ritters got to stay on the property until they passed away.
Wow. That's really touching. More than just a business deal, it was their home.
Totally. Okay, let's jump to the present day. The park's website really lays out everything it has to offer now.
Let's see what Ritter Farm Park is all about in the 21st century.
Trails galore. Picnic spots, fishing, even a dog park. And they've got this really cool environmental center, the Ed Mako Environmental Learning Center.
The Ed Mako Center, huh? Got to learn more about that.
We will. But first, some park rules. Horseback riding trails. Specific months and weather conditions. Gotta plan ahead.
Good to know. Don't want to get caught off guard.
And cyclists? Listen up, no bikes on the trails.
Interesting. They're really focused on certain types of recreation.
Definitely seems that way. Oh, and if you're thinking of a picnic, small shelters are available to rent. $70 for a half day for residents, $100 for the whole day.
Not bad, not bad. Good to have those details. Now let's zoom out a bit. Talk about Lakeville itself. The Wikipedia entry should give us some background.
Okay, zooming out. So Lakeville's in Dakota County, just south of the Twin Cities, and it's been booming lately.
From humble beginnings to a bustling suburb, that's quite the transformation.
It really is. Started as a milling center, now it's got this big Air Lake Industrial Park, and there's this story about Argonne Farms.
Argonne Farms, what's that all about?
It was this World War I settlement project, kind of a fascinating flop, really, but they redeveloped it later on.
Yeah.
Layers of history, right?
Like peeling back an onion, there's always more to discover.
Totally. Oh, and the Vermilion River runs right through Lakeville. Designated trout stream. Super important for the ecosystem.
Can't forget about the natural environment, it's all connected.
Right. Okay, enough from us. Let's hear what real people think. Time for some Yelp reviews. What are folks saying about Ritter Farm Park?
Let's see if it lives up to the hype.
Most reviews are super positive. People love those trails. Well-maintained, beautiful scenery, the whole 9 yards. And the dog park's a big hit, too.
Sounds idyllic.
Yeah.
But I bet there's always a dissenting voice or two.
Oh, absolutely. One reviewer mentioned poorly marked trails, easy to get turned around, which can be frustrating.
Makes sense. Good signage is crucial, especially in a larger park.
Right. But overall, Yelp paints a pretty positive picture. Ritter Farm Park. Beautiful, well-kept, great for enjoying nature.
So far, so good. But what about the future? Any plans for improvements or changes?
Oh yeah, big time. We've got these 2 YouTube videos, one about the 2021 park bond referendum and another about the environmental restoration efforts.
Okay, so they're actively investing in the park's future. That's a good sign.
First up, the Ed Mecco Environmental Learning Center is getting a major facelift. Open floor plan, restrooms, kitchenettes, even a wraparound deck.
Wow, they're going all out. Must be a real hub for the community.
It is. And on the ecological front, they're removing invasive buckthorn, restoring prairie land, creating habitats for native species.
It's great that they're not just focusing on aesthetics, but on the health of the ecosystem as a whole.
Absolutely. And a pergola and fire pit are in the works too. Even more inviting.
Sounds like they're really thinking of everything, creating a space where people can connect with nature and each other.
And all this is thanks to the 2021 park bond referendum. The community really showed their support.
That's amazing. When people are willing to put their money where their mouth is, it shows they truly value the park.
Totally. And the environmental restoration video even gives a phone number, 952-985-4528, for folks who want to get involved or learn more.
Now that's community engagement. So we've covered a lot of ground here. History, present day, even a glimpse into the future.
Ritter Farm Park is more than just a walk in the woods, huh?
It's shaping up to be quite the story.
You know, we keep talking about prairies, woodlands, wetlands, but what does that really mean? What are those ecosystems actually like at Ritter Farm Park?
Yeah, it's easy to just throw those terms around. Take the prairie, for instance. It's not just a bunch of grass, right?
Right. What makes a prairie a prairie?
The whole world of its own.
Yeah.
All kinds of grasses, wildflowers, tons of insects, birds hiding in the tall grass.
So much life packed into that space. And the woodlands, what are those like? Lots of oak trees, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, the hiker video definitely showed us that. Oaks are super important. They support a whole bunch of other species.
How so?
Well, their acorns are food for squirrels, deer, all sorts of creatures. And the leaves, when they fall, they create this rich soil.
So it's all connected. And the wetlands, those always seem so mysterious. What makes them special?
Wetlands are like nature's sponges. They soak up all that extra water when it rains a lot, so they help prevent flooding. Plus, they filter out pollutants, keep the water clean.
Wow, so important. What kind of creatures live there?
You've got cattails, those tall reeds, and in the water itself, all sorts of frogs, turtles, tons of fish. It's a whole different world.
I'm seeing this picture of Ritter Farm Park, like a puzzle, all these different ecosystems fitting together.
It's a microcosm of Minnesota's nature, all in one spot. You can experience so much variety without having to travel far.
Now, this might sound strange, but we actually got some great info from a YouTube channel called Haiku Dude.
Haiku Dude, okay, I gotta hear this.
I know, right? But he explores parks through haiku poetry.
Well, that's a new one. What did he have to say about Ritter Farm Park?
Well, he confirms the park's pretty big, about 340 acres, 10 miles of trails, but the way he describes it, tranquil oasis.
Ooh, I like that.
Right, really captures the feeling. And he talks about the diverse terrain, you know, hills, woods, open areas.
Sounds like a lot packed into those 340 acres.
Definitely. Oh, and he reminds us about the archery range. Call ahead, make sure it's not being used for something else. Safety first.
Always good advice.
And for all the dog owners out there, there's a big off-leash dog park right next door. But no unleashed dogs inside the park itself, especially with those horses around.
Safety for everyone, two-legged and four-legged.
Exactly. And no bikes either, which Haiku Dude knows some people might not like. But there are other bike trails nearby.
So they're really intentional about the experience they're creating at Ritter Farm Park.
Okay, let's move on to another YouTube video, Ritter Farm Park Trail Review from Dirt Path Exploration. Virtual tour of the Outer Loop Trail, 3.2 miles, takes about an hour and 15 minutes.
Sounds like a nice leisurely hike. What's the trail like?
Pretty rolling, some ups and downs, keeps things interesting. Lots of different scenery too, woods, open areas where they're restoring the native plants.
I'm picturing myself there right now. Fresh air, beautiful trees.
Oh, and tons of mushrooms apparently. Keep an eye out for those.
Easy to overlook those little guys, but they're so important for the forest.
Word of warning though, lots of bugs. Bring that bug spray.
Always a good idea, especially in the woods.
And sunscreen too, even if it's cloudy. The sun's sneaky.
Don't want to ruin a good hike with a sunburn.
The host of the video actually had a run-in with some wasps at one of the picnic tables, so watch out for those.
Noted. Picnic with caution.
Now for the planners out there, the Explore Minnesota website has some good info too.
What do the tourism folks have to say?
Well, they highlight birding, wildlife viewing, cross-country skiing, of course hiking. They even get specific about the ski trails, 12 kilometers track set, 6-kilometer skate ski, mostly intermediate level.
Good to know if you're planning a winter trip.
Right. Trail maps are at Lakeville City Hall. CCAS is at the Dakota County License Center. They've got you covered.
Details, but they make all the difference.
And guess what? Ritter Farm Park can handle groups of 45 or more. So, field trips, family reunions, even work outings.
It's not just for individual adventurers, then. A place for everyone to gather.
Exactly. And here's something I really liked.
Yeah.
They're big on green practices, eco-friendly design, energy efficiency, the whole shebang.
That's awesome. Sustainability should be a top priority for any park, really.
Okay, back to the Yelp reviews for a minute. This one from Lisa S. She went with her grand dog. So cute.
Aw, grand dog. What did they think of the park?
She loved it. Raved about the trails, nice and wide so you're not constantly dodging people. And the scenery, the mix of forest, water, prairie.
There's that variety again. It's a recurring theme with Ritter Farm Park.
She didn't have time for the dog park, but she's going back to try it out.
Sounds like a satisfied customer.
No, not every review is perfect, of course. Michelle A., she got a little lost. The signage wasn't great. Ended up walking 3.5 miles aimlessly.
Getting lost is never fun, especially if you're on a time crunch.
Right? And to top it off, she and her dog wandered onto the horseback riding trails. Dog ended up rolling in some horse droppings.
Oh no, not the kind of scent you want following you home.
Right. But even with those mishaps, she still appreciated the park's beauty, especially in late spring and summer. And she reminded everyone to bring bug spray.
Can't stress that enough. Those mosquitoes can be relentless.
Another reviewer, Ashley C., called Ritter Farm Park a gem. Great trails, very wide and pretty well maintained. And get this, she used the term forest bathing to describe her experience.
Forest bathing, I love that.
Yeah.
Really immersing yourself in the sights, sounds, smells.
Exactly. And she went on a Friday night, wasn't too crowded, perfect for a little peace and quiet.
Sometimes you just need that escape, you know?
Yeah.
Away from the screens, the noise.
For sure. Oh, and this one's heartwarming. Bria V., she actually had her wedding ceremony at Ritter Farm Park. Rented one of the small picnic areas.
Oh, how sweet is that? A beautiful, natural setting for a wedding.
Right. And she said it was pretty affordable, too. Then we have Emma P. She loved the long trails for hiking, the picnic spots, the fire pit, and the really great dog park. So many different perspectives.
It really highlights the park's versatility, doesn't it? Something for everyone.
It does, but there's one piece of the puzzle missing: the community. How does Ritter Farm Park fit into the life of Lakeville?
That's the heart of it all. A park can have all the amenities in the world, but it's the people who make it special.
All right, final stretch of our Ritter Farm Park journey. Let's talk about the park's connection to the Lakeville community. How do the people actually make this park their own?
That's the real magic, right? It's one thing to have trails and trees, but it's the people who bring it to life.
And speaking of people, the park's website tells us about Ed Mako, the guy the Environmental Learning Center is named after. Longtime resident, teacher, city council member, even mayor.
Wow, talk about community involvement. This wasn't just some random name they picked.
No kidding. And get this, he was actually instrumental in acquiring the land for Ritter Farm Park. So he had a hand in making this whole thing happen.
That's incredible. A real visionary. And to have the Learning Center named after him, that shows what he meant to Lakeville.
And that community spirit was front and center during the 2021 park bond referendum. Remember that YouTube video? Overwhelming support for the park improvements.
People put their money where their heart is. They wanted to see this park thrive.
And it wasn't just about voting. The environmental restoration video showed people out there volunteering, working with city staff, removing invasive species, restoring the prairie.
That's what I'm talking about. They're not just enjoying the park, they're actively taking care of it.
And remember the Vermilion River. It's not just a pretty feature, it's part of the community's watershed. Protecting it benefits everyone.
It's all interconnected, right? The park, the river, the people.
Exactly. And then there are all the events, guided hikes, nature workshops, those fun themed hikes we talked about. So many ways for people to connect and have fun together.
It becomes more than just a park. It's a community gathering place. A place to learn, to celebrate, to just be together.
But it's also a place for solitude, right? Those long trails, perfect for some quiet time in nature.
Absolutely. Sometimes you just need to escape the noise, get lost in the trees for a bit.
So as we wrap up our Ritter Farm Park deep dive, what's the takeaway? What makes this place special?
It's more than just a park. It's a story, a living, breathing story of a community and their connection to nature. It's about history, conservation, recreation, and most importantly, it's about people coming together to create something truly special.
Ritter Farm Park is a reminder that these green spaces are more than just pretty places to visit. They're vital parts of our communities, our ecosystems, and our well-being. So next time you're in a park, take a moment to appreciate its unique story, its connection to the people, and the role it plays in shaping the world around us.